All the content contained in this webcast is for informational purposes only. The investments and strategies may not be suitable for you. Please consult your own independent financial advisor before making any investment or trading decisions. Good morning, traders and investors around the world, and welcome to premarketinfo.com, where we prepare you for the most important hour of the day. The first hour, quiet 8-point range in the S&Ps last night. Not a whole lot going on. Dennis, do you have any free time to do something besides trade last night?
Yeah, actually I did, Joe. I got out to see the Hunger Games, and a little disturbed after watching. I'm not going to give any of it away because I know you haven't seen it yet, and some of our listeners probably haven't seen it yet. Great movie. A little disturbing, though. I don't know. I'm a little disturbed here this morning trading, so that's all I'll say about it. LGF, though, what do you think of the stock?
Well, Dennis, I think you were maybe a little bit disturbed before you went there.
Well, I've always been a little bit disturbed here, Joel, but that movie definitely didn't help.
Well, I'm going to say I am not like a Harry Potter, Star Wars, except for the tractor beam thing, kind of guy. But I will say I'm a little intrigued by this. My daughter's reading the book, and she says it's excellent. So I don't know if I can must go see it. But more importantly, let's talk about this stock on a technical basis. It looks like the box off euphoria has kind of worn off a little bit, hit 16.19 and is now pulled back to the close yesterday at 14.22. Dennis, it looks like this $14 area is starting to really shape up as support here. So if you're looking to buy this on the cheap, maybe perhaps take a stab at the $14 level. Below that, there's excellent support at 13. I guess the only thing you really got to keep in mind is this stock was under $7 and went up to 16. But you know what? I'll probably do a better if I do buy it. I'll probably do a better job than Carl Icahn in selling it.
Yeah, he was on CNBC yesterday selling it. I guess $7 right before the run-ups, but he's on there saying he can't win them all. So, and true enough, I think Carl had a really good year last year. I think it was up over 36% or something. So hard to make fun of the guy when he makes that much on his overall portfolio. So.
That's true. Just a quick analysis of the S&Ps here, Dennis. I guess you could characterize yesterday's break as a well-bought break, if there's such a thing. It just went down very stubbornly, then closed near the low, and the overnight low is just below that. To focus on as support the low that we had at 1404.75, and then the high at 1412 would be some good areas to focus on early in the session. I just want to mention a few of the Big Ten before we move on. The oil stocks, they both had double tops yesterday, up 87 and a quarter. Monday and Tuesday's highs, boom, right on the nose. So let's keep an eye on that level for that stock. Also, Chevron Corporation, Dennis, did the thing. 108 was Tuesday's high, and 107.97 was Chevron's Corporation's high. So perhaps that bounce is short-lived for the oil stocks. You see anything going on in the pre-market in those two?
They're both pretty quiet here, Joel, but interesting that you're right. They both double-topped right in the exact same spot, making coincidental highs, so I would definitely use those areas as resistance just if they were to go into a little bit of rally mode. I know we're only up a buck here, but funny things can happen, so if we were to start rallying or bounce back, those areas probably do provide you some pretty decent resistance. What about that Apple, Joel, though? Holy cow, it's up another $3 again. We talked about it jokingly being down in the morning. It didn't stay down for long there, Joel. It was down a buck and just kept running. Up another $3 here today, so it looks like another day in the life of Apple. 617.
616.28 was the old high, the old time high. So use that as support down to the close at 614.48. So I don't know. They get in. 2,000.
Pardon me, Joel, your audio is just a little bit
Sorry, but I said, did someone raise their target to 2,000?
No, they probably did. There seems to be upgrades on this thing every day. I don't see any upgrades out there today, but man, this stock is just marching, marching, marching. Who knows where this thing goes? I mean, if you're short the thing that's making new highs, I think you're on the wrong side of the trade. Sure, in one day this thing's going to drop $50 in a day. It's going to happen. But who knows? It could be at $800. It could be at 617 too. So I don't know if I really want to play from the long side either. But you just got to be really careful if you do play this stock, because anything can really happen. It can continue to march higher, but one day it's just, they always say up like an escalator, down like an elevator, and that will eventually happen with Apple.
Okay, the other stocks of note in the Big Ten, Dennis, with some high frequency activity that comes to attention. What Procter and Gamble did yesterday is it got up into that area, couldn't quite get up to the all time high, 67.95. But the HFT guys ganged up on it, Dennis, and then they just they looks like they let their profits run a little bit, and they pounded it down to 66.96, and there's been like 5 or 6 lows in that area, and then it rebounded again, closed at 67.15, and now it's trading up in the pre-market. So it looks like those HFT guys are making a living off that size at 68 in Procter Gamble.
Yeah, every time this thing gets up 67.70, 67.80, it's met with stiff resistance. We've been talking about the size for the last month at 68. Those high frequency guys, like we always say, they smell that size out, whether they see it or not. They know it's there. They sell in front of it. What you're seeing on the chart here for the last month is all these high frequency tops there where they're coming in, they're selling the stock. It gets up there, and it's a wall of high frequency traders up there selling the stock, and they did knock it down there yesterday. But interesting enough, Joel, this was one defensive name that wasn't up, but a lot of your defensive names were up yesterday. We're seeing a little bit of sector rotation here again. Some stocks like Pepsi were actually up on the day yesterday. Obviously Pfizer, they were saying Goldman Sachs had a couple comments saying that they could potentially break up the company, which was really giving Pfizer a lift as well. But overall, just so many defensive names were strong yesterday, considering how weak the market was. What did you think of Pepsi?
Well, you're throwing me a little curveball here, Dennis. I just wanted to finish up on 2 of the Big Ten here with high frequency activity, and it kind of fits in along the lines here with the defensive stocks. Johnson & Johnson, Dennis, bumping up against that 65.50 level, hit it, and now it's just kind of up here. So can you see any size there at 65.50?
A little bit. I see a little bit, but like we've said, we've talked about this level. We talked about it even yesterday in a mid-morning update show that the 65.49 keeps putting a cap on it. There seems to be some type of seller there at the 65.50 area. So until they can take that out, when they take that out, then you talk about this whole 66 wall, which we're talking about for the last 3 months, I think. So that is definitely a wall 50 cents higher. But there seems to be a little wall forming here right there too. I do have a small trading position, Johnson & Johnson, for full disclosure as well.
Okay, and just to finish on with the defensive stocks, Pfizer, Dennis, you beat me up when I said I thought it was 79. You didn't hear what what Goldman Sachs thought the breakup value of this company was?
What was it? I did hear it. It was ridiculous. So what did they say?
Maybe it's my dyslexia coming through. 37.
$37. So they're thinking this thing could go up 60-70% if they were to break up the company then. Wow.
Okay, sticking with your defensive stock theme here, Pepsi-Cola had a strong day yesterday. Currently breaking through yesterday's high with by about 9 cents here. So use that 66.19 as support. What's Pepsi's doing here, Dennis? Is it's coming back to fill that gap, and 66.14 it filled it yesterday. Major resistance now moves up to the 66.75 level. I'm looking at the pre-market, Dennis. I saw one big print there at 65.90. But besides that, those higher prints are just kind of floating up here.
That's just some odd lots too, Joel. So
yeah.
It really hasn't had much trading action here at all yet. And it's been a quiet morning for a lot of stocks, so that isn't surprising. But I just wanted to comment on the sector rotation because a lot of these, like you just pointed out, a lot of these defensive names were stronger yesterday. So you're seeing this whole thing. Like if you go back 6 months ago, everything seemed to move together. Defensive names would go down, and your cyclicals would go down. Everything would go down, and it all move in kind of in sync together. Now you're seeing, when you have a good day in the financials, a good day in some of your cyclicals, some of your defensive names have a bad day. So you just got to keep that in mind. And yesterday was the exact opposite. The financials were selling off. Some of your oil stocks were selling off. And then obviously your defensive names were a little bit stronger. So that's what was happening overall there yesterday, Joel.
Yeah, and it seems like there was a little bit of the sector rotation. Seems like they were hitting the financials a little bit. The main financial that everyone follows, Bank America, took out the 985 level bogey, sold off on the day, kind of recovering in the pre-market. Really need to keep an eye on Friday's low, the 940 level. I don't think I could get real bearish until it took out that level. Also, a stock that we had talked about yesterday as far as opening into resistance. These are our favorite kind of formations. Morgan Stanley, Dennis, you were talking about, the 2150 resistance, and I was saying, hey, let's get through the previous day's high. Lo and behold, 2117 was the high. The previous day was 2119. So we have an excellent area to look out here in Morgan Stanley at the 2120 level. As far as, other stocks that we talked about yesterday, the description for it to move higher all day wasn't filled. Opened up right at the high of the day and kind of came in. And what other stocks did you see some selling into by these defensive stocks?
Yeah, well, obviously, overall, just there was some other ones here that were selling off. Was the Goldman Sachs too, Joel? Is that what you just mentioned was Goldman?
Morgan.
Oh, Morgan, yeah. And Goldman was selling off. Your audio is a little bit... We'll have to get the audio fixed up for you guys out there. Your audio is a little bit chopped up. But just overall, I just wanted to note that whole sector rotation thing happening here. I think we do have to move on, Joel. We're going to next talk about some of these mergers that are happening. And it's not a pure merger, but Pentair, which is symbol PNR, is buying a division of Tyco. And this has got Pentair absolutely flying here this morning. PNR is trading up, Joel, over $6 here, $46.92 after closing $40.22. And Tyco is actually trading up $1.50 as well, trading at 55. So here's, Tyco spinning off this company. Pentair is going to merge with that part of the company, and both stocks are getting a good lift here today, Joel. What do you think of those?
I have absolutely no idea, Dennis.
Absolutely.
If it added that much value to Pentair, then why did Tyco sell it?
I don't get it either, Joel. Like how I guess they're just thinking the synergies here. This market. You used to always see when a merger happened at the acquiree, the company getting acquired would go up, and then the acquirer, the company that's buying the company, would go down. In this case, Pentair is buying a piece of Tyco and it's rallying $7, but they said it's supposed to add up to 40 cents per share earnings, something like that, by 2013. So maybe that's the case, but they are spending over $4 billion for it, so that money comes from somewhere.
Did they say it was going to add $40 to the stock price?
I know. Maybe that's what people are reading a typo. I don't know, but it's up almost $7 here now, Joel. It's been at 47. This is pretty crazy move.
48.73 was the high. I would mortgage my house to short it at that level. I would short it at 47. I just don't see that. I just don't see that. How much value it adds. So I'm doing a radio show with Dennis. So let's move on. I just can't see the reason for it being up.
What about Tyco, Joel? You do a quick technical on that one?
Yeah, Tyco Toys. I mean, I'm sure they're bummed they sold it. Breaking out here over new highs, 53.75. Into that area before I would buy it. Looking at the pre-market high, not quite the euphoria that was pumped into Pentair. 55.50 is where it hit in the pre-market. I see resistance coming down to 55. A lot of consolidation at yesterday's high, 53.75 earlier in the pre-market. So if it came in, I'd look for it to come into that level.
Got quite a few other ones. Smaller stocks reporting, but there is a few of them. SNX, reported there last night, Joel, and the stock is getting hit. This stock has been on a tear. It was basically up 50% here in the last 3 months. It's giving back 4 points this morning though. 43.64 is where it closed. I thought 40 might hold. You're guessing for support because we had a couple of lows back here just around 40, pointing them out there on the chart. But 39.50 is where it's offered right now. So it appears that 40 may not hold here in the pre-market. Wow, you start cutting through there. Where do you think this is going?
Dennis, I see absolutely no volume associated with this move.
No, there's no volume. It's a light trading stock, but it's offered at 39.5. So. Obviously, it's been sitting there, so it's not like somebody's picking that guy off. That's like sitting there, offered here for quite some time. So I think it's going to open down there, Joel.
Okay, 39.50 is the pre-market. I thought 42 would hold. I thought 40 would hold. So let's stick with the theme. Major support at 38 here if the thing really goes into reverse. But I could see a bump up and testing this 40 level.
Okay, and moving on, we actually got PVH, which has been an interesting run here. This reported last night, the Phillips Van Heusen. It sold off initially, Joel. It sold off last night pretty hard. Maybe you can talk about the after-hours low, because I didn't jot it down. You probably got it there, though. But now it's been rallying. It's trading $91, so it's up $1.20 here, Joel. Actually, now we're starting to approach where that 52-week high up there is that we just made a few days ago at 92.13. What was that after-hours low there last night on PVH?
Wow, it had. At first I saw a pop up to 92,
Yeah.
and then it had two drops down to the 89 level. Did that right after the numbers were out, and it just did it not too long ago. So 89, 80, 20 major support. 92 has been the pre-market high, and of course 92.13 was the high of the move. Should be excellent resistance. So basically, this thinly traded issue could go anywhere between 89 and 92.
Yeah, and then if it started to break out over that 92, then you got to look out, because I know some of these retailers, when they start taking off, they can really take off. So you just want to be careful. If it does start breaking out, making new 52-week highs, you probably don't want to be short the issue. RBN, here's another one. There's some volatile ones here today, Joel. This thing's trading up $5. I don't know if there was something else announced. It was an earnings report. It was a good earnings report last night, but man, it's trading 50.17 after closing at 45.83. So basically, we've had a bad 3 or 4 or a bad week or two with this thing. It was trading up at this high here at 50.39 there about a week and a half ago. Sold off to below 44. It's getting all that back right here this morning, right now. Man, you got to think there's going to be some resistance up here, Joel.
Well, 50 on the dailies is the number. 50.39. That was a high from a few days ago. In the pre-market, you've topped out at 51.01, so I'd certainly keep an eye on that level. What is it? A merger between Baskin Robbins and the Myers store or something? What is?
I don't know
what is this company? I don't know, man. But if it really, really, really goes into rally mode, I think this 51.50 should put a halt into it. Any kind of back in February, but this thing just seems to move $2, $3, $4 whenever it wants.
I mean, it is an industrial machinery company. Same deal as Tyco. Same deal as same deal as Pentair. So maybe there's a sympathy move here happening too with the whole merger. So good earnings, sympathy move. Maybe it's like a perfect storm to give this stock that much of a lift. But it seems like a pretty crazy lift to me here, Joel. FDO.
Wait a second, Dennis. Wait a second. What's the volume associated with
No,
this
there's
move?
nothing. There's 300 shares traded.
Okay.
But what I always
Short
look at, like you can look at that, but the thing never trades much volume. But it's bid there. It's bid, and it's been bid all morning because I keep an eye on these things all morning. Like sometimes
For
you
how
see,
much? For how many
well, there's
shares?
800 more shares up there, but he's not getting hit. The whole tip-off is when nobody's willing, because those high-frequency guys are smart. They figure this stuff out. If somebody bids 50.17 and he's out to lunch, he gets smacked within seconds. If he sits there and gets bidding there all morning for 800 shares, the odds are that's probably going to open up there, or some high-frequency guy would seek that order out and smack it. So, that's why I put a lot of credit. Sometimes in the pre-market, volume doesn't always mean everything. It's just a matter of how long the bid or the offer is sitting there. And this bid, we're talking right now, still sitting there. It's been sitting there for a long, long time, making me think that, man, this thing might actually open up over $50. So that's something to keep in mind. So, obviously you get these Tycos, you get these mergers, different things, they'll have tons of volume. But some of these little companies don't trade a heck of a lot. I mean, this thing trades under 1 million shares a day in the regular session, and people are still trying to figure out a value for it too. So
Okay.
it's sitting there anyways. Moving on, FDO reported earnings here this morning, Family Dollar, Joel. And this one's had a little bit of a wild ride too. It was trading down initially on the report, just a bit, but now is popping up 58.65 after closing at 58.24. So FDO is getting a decent lift here. Off the earnings. I think you probably want to keep an eye on the high there that it made the other day, just above here at 59. I'm going to grab that high for you. 59.29, and then above there you got a 52-week high of 60.53. What do you take on this one?
That it's topped out at 59 in the pre-market, Dennis. Kind of looks like trades by appointment here. So I would keep a real close eye on this 59 up to yesterday's high, 59.29. Coming back on the downside, I think 58.16. Keep an eye on that. Yesterday's low. If not, it looks like we have a pretty good drop after that, under the $58 to 57.71.
One more for you, Medco Health. This just coming across right now. The stock getting a lift. I haven't actually seen what the headline is, but I just watched the stock just take off here just in the last minute. Just blew up to 72.06. From 68.99 close. So the stock just took off like a bat out of hell. The 52-week high, 70.97. It's just blown through that too. So 72.41 trading now. Joel, this Medco Health, maybe we'll see what the headline is here in a second. But wow, that thing's taken off.
What's the symbol on that, Dennis?
MHS. I'm sorry, Michael, Harry, Sam.
Monroe High School. High school.
Monroe High School. Is that where you went to? Monroe High School. Medco Health Solutions, drug company. Must be something with a drug, probably.
Okay. Really seem to keep a lid on this thing. 70.96. Currently trading above that level. So if you get a sell-off, folks, look for support at 71.
It's something to do with some merger that was happening. It's not a merger here, but some talk of something like that. So I don't have the complete details on it here yet. Just crossing. Really, Joel, though, that's what the movers are here right now. We've got MOS reporting after the bell, so keep an eye on that one, which is a Mosaic company. The SPOOs here, SPOOs are still trading flat. We've chopped around here. We're basically trading from flat up to a couple of bucks, and we've just a couple points, and we've just kind of been kicking around that area. What's your closing thought on the overall market here, Joel?
Very mixed, Dennis. Some of the oil's down, Apple up. What else is new? Kind of just trading around mid-range here, Dennis. I think, just being with the trend, going with the market, 1404.75. That's been the that's very close to yesterday's low-end close. So, you know what? You gotta look to play it from the long side till we take out that morning low. That's our show for this morning, and we'll be back at 10:30 with our mid-morning update.